Hello, everybody. Brian Gregory here at the Highland Church of Christ. What I want to do today is just talk a little bit about some positive things. I'm really tired of hearing about coronavirus. If you're like me, I'm sure you are too. The fact is that every day we hear more and more about this virus. We hear something different on the news from different people saying this will work, this won't, this is going on, this isn't. All of these things seem really, really conflicting. But what about some good news? What about some positive things? That's really what I want to do today, is just focus on a couple of positive things. Because one of the facts is that now, because we're out of school, we're out of work, we're all quarantined at home, few of us can really say that we don't have enough time. A week or so ago, when I realized that school was canceled for 4 weeks, we had a little bit of a panic at our house because I have 4 children. And what are we going to be doing over the next 4 weeks, and how are we going to handle all this? My wife and I came up with some ideas and some things I'll share here in just a minute. But I began to realize also that I can no longer say I don't have enough time. I've been looking around the house and seeing a lot of small projects and a couple of bigger ones that I, well, to be quite honest with you, I need to get done and hope to do in the next few weeks. But let me stop and tell you a couple of things we can do here. How can we keep ourselves together? How can we be positive? And really, how can we make the most of all of this? Because the truth is, every single one of us have had to stop and pause for the next few days, the next few weeks, and we're not really sure how long this will last. But because we are having to stop and pause, my big question is this: how are you using that pause? How are you using this time? One of the things that I find very important is the fact that we need to take good care of ourselves mentally and physically at a time like this. Something that I found to be very helpful recently was making a daily schedule, some kind of routine. At our house, we've had a loose routine we've been following off and on. Again, loose is probably the correct answer, just to make sure there's some sense of routine day in and day out so that the days don't run together. I have to admit that I've been having trouble the last few days just remembering what day of the week it is, simply because I'm pretty much doing a lot of the same thing every single day. So we have to think about this. So one, make a routine, make some kind of a schedule. And in that, I want you to have part of your daily routine to be this. How about you spend time reading Scripture every single day? Was it your goal to read through the Bible this year? Well, guess what? You've got plenty of time now. Have you been struggling to get through some kind of routine about daily Bible reading or reading through the Gospels or something else? Guess what? You've got plenty of time to study now. As part of that, I also want you to stop and think about the idea of spending time in prayer, praying for the church, praying for one another, praying for our nation, praying that this coronavirus goes away, that we're able to find some cure or treatment for it or vaccine or something for it. Another thing we can do as part of this is we also need to make sure we take time to do a little exercising if you can. Go on a walk, get up, stretch. Especially very, very important, weather permitting, of course, go outside as much as possible. It's amazing what it'll do for you just to get outside and get some fresh air when you have the opportunity. If you can go outside and sit on the porch for 10 or 15 minutes, go outside on the porch. If you can go out and do a little yard work for a couple hours, go do that. Whatever you can, make sure you get outside as much as you can. Another thing you also have time to do right now is call your friends and your family. You've got a chance and an opportunity to check in on some people and call some people that you haven't had the opportunity to talk to in a while. Rekindle some friendships, rekindle some relationships with other people. In this book on Seek First, it's a book about seeking first the kingdom. Jeremy Treat said this. He talked about the fact that in the Old Testament, the Sabbath rest was a forced rest, a forced time of rest to stop and focus upon what was most important. When we think about our forced times of rest, we think about doing things in our modern age like scrolling Facebook endlessly or maybe watching Netflix or something like that. Those things are fine to an extent, but one thing I really want us to all do is really to stop and think about what is most important, because we have plenty of time to do just that. Another thing I really want to bring home here is the fact that, yes, the church is at home, but I also want us to know that although we're not meeting together, the church is still very active. I'm hearing a lot of great things about other congregations, what they're doing for one another and how they're trying to stay connected and what they're doing. But I know there's a lot of awesome opportunities for us to share our faith and for us to shine here. Because we're doing these weekly video spots, you have an opportunity to share this with friends and family. Because we're still doing our worship on Sunday morning via the internet, you have an opportunity to invite your neighbors over, invite your family, or share that with their friend or family member who may not normally be attending Highland or anywhere for that fact. And there's an opportunity for you to do that. Another thing about this is that I'm convinced that there will be a lot of good that comes out of this. I'm really excited to share that our elders are really, really focused upon meeting. They're really focused upon calling up members, praying for them. And the main thing they're focused on is they're really taking this serious about shepherding and being good shepherds. I'm very proud of those men and love every single one of those men for their efforts. The ministers here each and every week, we're preparing some things behind the scene to make sure that we stay connected to one another. And I need to give a big shout out to our good friend Steve Marks, who's helping us with a lot of video editing and other things too along the way. But the thing is that we all are trying our best to stay connected at times like this. But one thing I don't want us to do, I don't want us to get on the backside of this a few months down the road and realize, hey, I had 4, 5, 6 weeks or whatever the amount of time is at home, and I really didn't do anything. Make the most of this. How are you using your pause? That's our positive message for the day and something for you to think of this week. Thank you very much.
In Jesus' name, His love is burning in our hearts like living flame.